The year was 1945. A world war had just ended, leaving behind a landscape of both devastation and hope. Indonesia, seizing the moment, declared its independence, and a wave of hope and euphoria swept across the archipelago, from Sabang to Merauke. The people rejoiced, dreaming of a future free from oppression. The red and white flag, the Merah Putih, rose proudly, a symbol of a new identity, a new dawn, a new future forged in unity and resilience. It represented the blood spilled and the purity of their aspirations. Farmers, toiling the land, intellectuals, shaping the nation's vision, youth, everyone, regardless of background, felt a profound sense of unity and national pride. A shared destiny bound them together. But this newfound freedom was fragile, like a delicate seedling in a storm. Japan's surrender, while marking the end of one occupation, brought not lasting peace, but a period of immense uncertainty and looming challenges. The Dutch, unwilling to relinquish their grip on power and resources, eyed their former colony with a possessive gaze, ready to reclaim what they considered theirs. The initial euphoria gradually faded as the harsh reality began to set in. Independence, so dearly won, would not be freely given and would have to be fiercely defended against those who sought to take it away. Allied forces arrived, ostensibly claiming to disarm the defeated Japanese troops stationed across the islands, but closely following their arrival was NICA, the Netherlands Indies Civil Administration, the vanguard of the returning Dutch colonial administration. Indonesians, with growing alarm, saw the looming threat. The presence of foreign troops could very well mean a swift and brutal return to the oppressive days of colonial rule. The revolution's hard-won promise of self-determination and freedom desperately needed protection from external forces. Every village, every bustling city, every rice paddy became a potential front line in the struggle for survival and sovereignty. The next chapter in Indonesia's history would be written not with ink, but with the unwavering courage, immense sacrifice, and unyielding determination of its people. As the dust settled after World War II, British troops landed in central Java, tasked with a seemingly straightforward mission. Their arrival, however, would soon ignite a new conflict. Officially, their mandate was limited, promising only to manage the surrender of Japanese forces and oversee the evacuation of prisoners of war held in the region. This was the stated purpose, the one presented to the world. An agreement with Sukarno, the leader of the newly proclaimed Indonesian Republic, was tentatively made, a fragile understanding in a volatile environment. It stipulated no interference with Indonesia's hard-won sovereignty, a principle that was meant to ensure peace and cooperation. But then, the Netherlands Indies Civil Administration, or NICA, arrived with a hidden agenda. They began arming former Dutch prisoners, a provocative act that was guaranteed to provoke outrage amongst the Indonesian populace, who had just declared their independence. The supposed liberation from Japanese occupation quickly felt like a new invasion, a return to colonial rule. Tensions, already simmering beneath the surface, exploded when British and NICA forces attempted to disarm the People's Security Army, the TKR, the nascent armed forces of the newly independent Indonesia. On November 20th, 1945, the fragile peace shattered completely, and open fighting erupted in Magelang, a city not far from Ambarawa. Outgunned and lacking modern equipment, but fiercely determined to defend their freedom, Indonesian forces, fueled by revolutionary fervor, pushed the Allied forces back, strategically retreating towards the town of Ambarawa. The battle lines were now clearly drawn around Ambarawa. Ambarawa, a small town in central Java, would soon become a powerful symbol of Indonesia's fight for freedom and self-determination. The entire nation braced itself for a decisive struggle, a pivotal moment that would define the future of Indonesia. Ambarawa became a fortress, surrounded by Indonesian resistance. Farmers, merchants, students, all joined the siege, united by the need to expel the invaders. Lacking modern weapons, Indonesians relied on bravery and guerrilla tactics. Lieutenant Colonel Sudirman led early assaults, inspiring his men, but was killed in battle. His death was a blow, but it became a rallying cry. The people's grief turned to fury and resolve. The fight was now personal. Every sacrifice deepened their determination. They awaited a leader who could turn their passion into victory. Colonel Sudirman arrived at the front, taking command after Sudirman's death. He inspired his troops, leading by example and sharing their hardships. Sudirman's leadership blended discipline with spiritual strength. He reorganized the fighters into a unified force, channeling their passion into strategy. His presence restored confidence and unity. Sudirman's call to arms was a shared commitment, not just an order. Under his command, the resistance became a true army. The stage was set for a decisive battle. General Sudirman, a brilliant strategist, understood that a decisive victory was needed to bolster the morale of the Indonesian people and demonstrate the strength of their resolve. To that end, Sudirman devised the Supit Orang, or pincer's jaws. This was not just any attack. It was a meticulously planned, coordinated assault designed to encircle Ambarawa, cutting off enemy reinforcements and supplies. The goal was complete tactical dominance. On December 12, 1945, before the first light of dawn touched the horizon, the assault began, erupting from all sides with a ferocity that caught the Allied forces completely by surprise. The element of surprise was key to the initial success. The strategy worked. The Allies found themselves trapped within Ambarawa, their vital supply lines completely cut off, leaving them vulnerable and isolated. For 4 long, grueling days, brutal fighting raged, turning the streets of Ambarawa into a fierce battleground, with every building and corner contested. Outmatched in firepower and resources, the Indonesians relied on their unwavering unity, their deep-seated courage, and their intimate knowledge of the terrain. Finally, on December 15th, facing mounting losses and dwindling supplies, the Allied forces were forced to retreat. The red and white flag, the symbol of Indonesian independence, was proudly raised over Ambarawa, signaling a hard-fought victory. The victory at Ambarawa was more than just a military success. It was a crucial turning point in the Indonesian national revolution, powerfully proving to the world Indonesia's unwavering resolve and determination to achieve full independence and self-determination. In commemoration of this pivotal battle, December 15th is now celebrated annually as Indonesian Army Day. The legacy of Ambarawa endures to this day, a powerful reminder that freedom is not freely given, but must be defended with unwavering unity, strategic intelligence, and an indomitable spirit.